Welcome to the Columbia Rotary Club this afternoon. Columbia Rotary Club serving the world, including Columbia, for the last 100 years almost. Thank you for being here today, and we will start off with Rusty to Pass and Jim Smithwick and our national anthem. Thank you. Wayne Ligon will lead us in the invocation today.
Please bow your heads with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day and this men and women under the umbrella of Rotary who do good in this world you created. We strive to do your will. Help and heal those in pain and those not with us today. Guide our Rotary and governmental leaders. May their decisions and policies lead to a safer and better world. Continue to guide us as we eradicate polio, provide clean water for remote villages, and help find a cure for Alzheimer's, and send food to those who are hungry in our city. To God be all the glory. Amen.
Thank you, Lane. Brenda Oliver will introduce our visitors and guests.
Good afternoon. We have one visiting Rotarian, and that is Joe Wilson from the KC Rotary Club. Is Joe here? Yes, if you will stand, and Louisa's going to take the microphone around for you.
That worked. You did a good job.
Good afternoon. I'm Henry Baskins, and with me today is Janae Armstrong. Janae is the latest member of the Community Relations Council staff.
Jim, straight back. Straight back.
I'm Rusty Pass, and I don't have a guest today, but I have an announcement to make that John asked me to do at this time. The Forest Acres Rotary Club they park cars and so forth, and they have this parking lot over at the credit union at the corner of George Rogers Boulevard and Bluff Road. And they have 2 parking spaces remaining for all the Carolina home games. They're $330 a piece. And to contact, if you would like to get one of these last 2, is George Shishis, and his telephone number is 787-5065. Thank you.
I'm Mason Hardy with Creative Financial Strategies. I serve on the board of Adventure Children's Museum. Today is my guest is Senior Vice President of Development, Lewis Fawcett, Adventure Children's Museum.
Welcome to all of our visitors.
Thank you. I've asked Jim to hang on to the microphone for a minute because I didn't get to come to the game, and I'm sad about that. But I wanted to see if there's somebody here who went to the game who could stand up and tell us how Mark Sullivan did delivering that first pitch. I want to make sure our club was not embarrassed with some wimpy throw out on the field. So is there somebody here who went to the game that could give us a little description of how that first pitch went? Anybody? Nobody wants to talk about Mark?
I'll say something.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
I actually did not witness the first pitch. My child was running out on the field with the national anthem with the players. But I did hear it was high and long, so he didn't show up short. He was definitely going to make sure he got to the plate. That's all I heard, that it was a long throw, but on target, just a little bit over.
Good deal. And did you enjoy the evening overall?
It was a fantastic evening. The Rotarians had a strong turnout with all the clubs around from as far away as Camden and Sumter. It was a good turnout in the middle of those groups.
Great. That's great to hear. Great social bit of fellowship there. I'm glad it worked out well, and thank all of you who participated for participating. I think there is some reward coming back to our club. I'm not sure what it is, but when I find out, I'll let you know as a result of us having the most participants of the Rotary Club. Okay, next, Wayne Cannon will present our health and happiness for today. There he is.
Hey, isn't it great to be a Rotarian today? Hey, y'all been watching the Olympics? Man, it's been fun. I've enjoyed watching the Olympics. It's been great to see all those American swimmers win their gold and Phelps and all that. I think that we need to be proud of the people that are participating down there, and America's doing a great job. We have one thing we'd like to share with you. Michael Kahn is a granddad for the first time. He has a boy, 3 days old, and his son, Joel. Okay, he stole my son's number about the baseball game. But the weather was great. You didn't mention it. For a baseball game, it was nice and pleasant. It wasn't humid, and it was super weather. And so I think everybody did enjoy it. It was a great evening for you, and for those that went, I'm sure that they had a great time. Those that missed it, you should have been there. Let's see. We've got, I know you all read your book, but for everybody, I'm going to have to tell you that there's a great article in here that says reasons to love Rotary right now. 10 reasons. Number 1, because we are about to eradicate a disease that all of us can have been a great part of. Number 2, because you're connected to people who take action. Number 3, because the foundation is 100 years strong. Number 4, because we know about social networking. Number 5, because the good you do really does come back to you. Number 6, because membership has just become much more flexible. Number 7, because our work is to support peace and the conflict is making the world a better place, one person at a time. Number 8, because Rotary scholarships help the best and the brightest achieve their goals. Number 9, because the science says Rotarians are happier and healthier. I guess you didn't know that. Science has proven that. Probably got a government grant to do that. Right, Joe? And because our future is bright. And if you have any issues at all about explaining what Rotary does, I'd call your attention to page 54 and 55. There's a great 2 pages in there that you could read that will help you explain what Rotary is and what Rotary does. Real quick, a history note. Everybody rides through Conway, South Carolina. Do you know how Conway got his name or who it's named after? Conway is named after Robert Conway. He was a general during the Revolutionary War. And Conway at first was called Kingstown, and people didn't like that because it was named after the King of England, so they changed it to Kingston, and then they changed it to Conway, and is named after Robert Conway. Generally also served in the General Assembly. And of course, Rotary County is named after General Peter Rotary. And Peter also was a lieutenant colonel during the Revolutionary War and became a general in the militia and also served in the General Assembly. So that's how Conway and Rotary County got its name. Real quick, you know, they say TV is a great wasteland. Well, I have learned a great number of things from TV the last few months. Number one, 6 is greater than 1. You know, and also it says, you know, that be sure to tell your doctor what medicine you're taking. God, I hope he knows. You know, and if you die, be sure to call him and tell him that the drugs that he prescribed for you killed you. And make sure your wife has, or your husband has a number of 1-800-9ers so she can call the lawyer when he dies. All right. That's pretty much all I've got. I have no other information. Everybody's doing great. And I hope y'all have a great week. And remember, Rotary is on your side.
Thank you, Wayne. He always brings us a little bit of interesting information and useful information. I want to ask those of you who are here who serve on the Centennial Committee to stay behind for a brief meeting after our luncheon meeting here today. And I see a few faces out there, so I know that you're here, and I'm hoping you will stay and meet with us afterwards. Thank you for that. I wanted to tell you in the way of health and happiness, I am happy to be here. I did everything I could to make sure I got back, but I had a very difficult time. Finally got into Charlotte and got my bag at about 2:10 this morning. I arrived home about 3:30 because the flights just weren't working. And I was supposed to go to Dallas and then to Charlotte, and that didn't work, so I ended up going to Denver and then to Charlotte, and I got a semi-red eye out of Denver to Charlotte. So anyway, my head's still pressurized. I'm sorry for that, but I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be with you today. I might go take a nap shortly after the meeting's over. Next thing on the agenda is Trevor Bowers, who is chairman of our membership committee, is going to get up and talk to you about all of the good stuff he and his fellow workers are doing to not only keep our members energized and involved, but hopefully encourage other members to join us.
Thank you, President John. My head is not pressurized or whatever you said, so I should be speaking clearly. That was a joke. John said that he was on the plane for a long time and his head got compact. Mine's not. My name is Trevor Bowers, and I am involved in the membership committee. What I wanted to do today is let you know a little bit about what we're doing on the membership committee. And I wanted to start off with telling you how I became a member here at Columbia Rotary. And it started off with past President John Johnston. We were at a party together, and it was getting late. John said, "Well, have you ever considered Rotary?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, would you like to?" I didn't want to really ruin the good conversation we were having, so I said, "Sure, absolutely, John. I'd love to check out Rotary." Well, what did he do? He followed up with me the next day. "Trevor, you said you were interested in Rotary. Here's an application." Okay. I guess that was real. So I think John had to follow up with me a few times, hopefully not too much, but he did have to be persistent with me. And eventually I filled out the application, and y'all voted me in, so thank you for that, even though Holt Chetwood, and I don't think he's here today, threatened to blackball me. I'm glad he kept his comments to himself. But thank y'all for voting me in, and I became a member. And what I did first was slink into the back, sit in the back and try to figure out what's going on, try to meet a few people. And eventually I got to know a little bit more about Rotary, and particularly what I was impressed with the service above self, and how Rotary not only was involved in the local community, but also in the global community. And that was something that I was missing in my life, and how I could be involved in those ways. I was involved in a few other organizations, but not in those ways. And I went to the events, and I wasn't really sure as to how to get more involved other than just coming to the meetings. And so I shot past President Mark an email and said, hey, I'm interested in hearing about committees or how to get more involved. And within 15 minutes, I had a phone call. He said, well, we've got plenty of things for you to do. And it was interesting for me to talk to him and to see all the stuff, all the committees and everything that Rotary was doing and how I can get plugged in. And so membership committee came up and I said I'd be interested in that, and that's why I'm here today. And what I want to do is talk to y'all briefly about my experience and how y'all, and I can help you with membership as current members of the club. From my story, one of the things that John did well was he approached me. He actually talked to me about it. I don't know from John's perspective, but it made it a little uncomfortable to bring up Rotary. I'm not sure. But he approached me about it, he talked to me about it, and then he was persistent. And one of the things that I want to encourage y'all to do is actually bring it up. If you believe in it, if you think it's good, then it's something that you should talk about. So if you bring it up, a lot of times staying in front of that prospective member, like John did with me, I'm not very good at that. Maybe some of you out there are not very good at that. What I want to do and what we on the committee, and let me remember this, Ed Greenleaf is a newly recruited member as of 15 minutes ago. And David Campbell, I think he walked in, he's a part of the committee as well. And we would love to have more people involved. So see me afterwards. But one of the things that I want to arm y'all with is staying in front of those prospective members. Let us be involved. Shoot me an email. Give me a phone call. Say, you know, I've got somebody that's interested, but I forget. Can you give me a tickler email every 2 weeks just so I remember to stay in front of them? I'm happy to do that. If it's, I think this person needs someone else to call them and pursue them other than me, we're happy to do that on the committee. Is call them, ask them to call, get involved in that person's life, potentially to become a part of Rotary if it's a fit. So help us, and I'll send you information about that, but we want to help you be more proactive in recruiting new members. Secondly, current members. If you were like me and you didn't know exactly how to get involved, but you wanted to get involved, we want to help you do that as well. We want to help you find the committee potentially that's right for you, and we want to help you find ways to get involved. And if you know people that are current members that aren't showing up, we would love to have their names if they want to be more involved as well. So, all that to say, please contact us, please use us. We'll be sending out emails, reminders periodically, and maybe you'll see me up here once a month or something like that if you'll have me, so that we can not only recruit new members to our club, people that need to be in here in order to make Rotary more widely known, but also people that are currently here to get them more involved. So, thank you.
Thank you, Trevor. One of the things, or a couple of things I want to add to what he had to say is one of the areas for us to look for new members is people who used to be members of this club. Some people were members and left because they had a job transfer or something changed in their daily work life where Mondays weren't possible for them to meet with us, or they were just too busy, and some of those people have retired. And I know several of those, and I am working on them to try to get them to come back to the club because they have more time now. I know John Asman is one. Where are you, John? Sorry, back there. Yeah, John, who was a faithful member for years, got busy in another direction, and now he has more time, and he has rejoined us. And I think there are a couple of others who are like that I remember recently. It would be wonderful to have some of these folks back who were contributing members of our club some years ago and have drifted away for whatever reason. So I hope that you will think about people that maybe used to sit at your table or whatever, and you think would make a great contribution to our club if we could get them to rejoin. I hope you will join me in seeking some of those. And I want to add to what Trevor said about being involved, because being involved keeps you excited about your club and energized in terms of speaking to others about it. So I have an opportunity for somebody right now that I'd like to talk to you about. There's been criticism of our little banner arrangement here, the banners that we've received from other clubs around the world. It is so ratty that it's about to fall off the table. And I'm wondering if somebody or some couple of folks would like to volunteer to help us figure out a way to redo this arrangement up here in front on the table. If we're a first-class club, we don't need ratty banners right up here in front of everybody. So many of the banners need to be returned, but the arrangement, the drapery that holds them up is just about finished. So if anybody would like to help figure out how we rearrange this, come up and take a look after the meeting or whatever, and if anybody's willing to take that on, please let me know. I would love to have somebody or a couple of folks take on that challenge. And the club will provide whatever materials we need to make that happen. So here's an opportunity. But I am serious. I mentioned this to you before. If you want to get involved in a way in our club in some way, please let me or Trevor or any one of our board members know, and we'll help you get engaged in things that are going on. Because I will tell you, you're going to start getting a lot of feedback shortly about all the stuff that's going to start happening for our centennial celebration and leading up to that and after that. It is going to be the busiest year this club ever had, and we do need help. We're going to need a lot of help. So I hope that those of you who have an interest in serving in some way, please either see me or somebody else that can help steer you in the right direction. With that said, Jack Sloan is going to introduce our new speaker for today, and I hope Jack will tell you a little bit about himself before he introduces the speaker.
Okay, yeah, I'm Jack Sloan. Today we're lucky to have with us Nick Galante, who is the current president of the Animal Mission here in Columbia. And I believe all of you know that I work at Palmetto Lifeline. And I want to just tell you that Nick and I together, jointly with our organization, we are out on a mission. And I sent this over to Nick, I will include it in his slides, but I just want to show you one number here. Every day in the United States of America, 10,000 babies are born. And y'all, that is wonderful. Every day in the United States of America, 70,000 kittens and puppies are born. Now, in what kind of world, city, or place does that work? It doesn't. We have a problem. Spay neuter is definitely the solution to it. But okay, Nick's currently, like I said, the president of the Animal Mission, which is a South Carolina 501c3 nonprofit organization that works to improve the safety and quality of life for animals in the Midlands. To that end, Animal Mission provides free spay or low-cost vouchers to neuter vouchers throughout the number of pets, trying to reduce the number of pets or get more pets euthanized and left more pets fixed and less euthanized. So that one day we're hoping to move Midlands by 2018 to a no-kill community. Nick is a graduate of the Citadel, and I am too, and we're almost the same year. I'm 72 and he's 02. Well, they both got a 2 in them, okay? That's about it. But, he got his MBA from Murray State University. I got mine from the University of Tennessee. And Nick lives in Shandon and is the Learning and Development Specialist with IDEX Laboratories. Nick.
Considering that PowerPoint presentations are the melatonin of technology, I thought it'd be appropriate to begin with a story. So this takes place in Pettville, USA. On a spring morning, we have a great occurrence. It's the birth of life, right? The miracle of life. And the Smith family, they have a bunch of puppies, and they're really excited. Gentlemen are lighting cigars. Children in the neighborhood are coming to view these beautiful, cute little creatures. They're smelling the puppy breath, looking at the little paws. Everybody's excited. And about 6 weeks later, those puppies are ready for a home. Now, here's where the challenge comes into play. Now, keep in mind, folks, that these pet owners and these puppies, these aren't feral dogs. These are at a home. They're in somebody's backyard. They're in somebody's living room. So the Smiths, they try their darndest, and what they're going to do is they're going to get these pets, these puppies adopted, and they reach out to their network. They start talking to coworkers and family members and folks from church and in their neighborhood, and they start to get some interest. And the first house that they visit, unfortunately for the child, maybe not so much for the parents, that child has a pet allergy, so maybe those parents are feeling like they dodged a bullet. When we visit the second house, those folks already have a pet, and that pet's not going to get along with these new puppies, so that's not going to work either. And then we move on to this nice young lady, and she wants to have a pet. It's been a lifelong dream, but unfortunately she travels a lot, and the responsibility of pet ownership is going to be too great with her being on the road all the time. So we venture over to the fourth house, and there they have 4 cats. And I don't know if you guys have ever tried to put a cat and a puppy together. It doesn't always mix. But fortunately, they found the Joneses, and the Joneses were willing. They were going to take 4 of those puppies. And the Smiths agreed, well, we'll take the other 3 and we'll keep the mother that birthed them, and now everybody's happy. So we solution found, right? Whew, we're good. Well, everything was great in Pettsville until about 6 months later, when the mother and all of her female puppies had a litter. So the mother had 6, and 2 of the litter had 5, or 4. One of the litter had 5, and another one had 2. So now we have, how many folks? 21 new puppies. Now we've got to find homes for those 21 puppies. And remember the challenges that we had getting homes for the first 7. So now we have to go back through. Sorry about that. So now we have 21 puppies, and we've got to find those homes. 13 of those being female, so the cycle continues. And we remember, we had one home where we've got pet allergies. We've got another home where they've got another pet that's just not going to get along with new puppies. We've got the young lady who wants a pet but travels too often. We've got the folks, the cat folks, right? They've got 4 cats. Dog's not going to work there. Last time we found the Joneses, but the Joneses have 4 dogs now, plus the litter that just got born. They're trying to give away dogs. They're not taking anymore. And neither are the Smiths. So we look at the local shelter here in Pettsville. They've got 30 kennels. Those kennels can hold 30 dogs. But right now, they're at half of their occupation. They've got 15 kennels occupied, right? So that only leaves 15 spaces, but we have 21 dogs. Can you guys guess what happens to those other 6 pets that don't have a kennel? So, thank you, Jack, for the introduction. My name is Nick Galante. I work as the president for the board of directors for the Animal Mission here in Columbia. And I wanted to thank you folks for allowing me to have the opportunity to come and speak to you about the Animal Mission and what we do. Earlier you mentioned the Rotary Club and service before self and making our community better, making the world better. And the Animal Mission's efforts are really focused with that in mind, service before self, but specifically related to our community. So what I'd like to do is tell you a little bit about the Animal Mission, what we do, and where we came from, and then give you some information if you're feeling inspired to maybe want to assist in one way or another. Now, I told you guys a story about the pet population when we have responsible pet owners, not feral pets, but litters that are born within pet owners' homes. And this here, I will tell you, for those in the back, this is also a seeing eye test, so we'll be grading you out at the end. We actually left a bunch of room there and opened up the room because we're going to be parading some pets in at the end, and everybody gets one. So I hope you guys are excited. Right? Yeah, that's good. Okay. So now when we look at the population control and the challenges of feral pets, it compounds significantly. If we take a female cat and her mate and all of her kittens, and they have 2 litters per year, and only 2.8 of those kittens survive, in 9 years we would have 11.6 million kittens. So that's left unchecked in the community. And this is why we do what we do today. Now, keep in mind that female dogs have larger litters than cats. And you can start to understand where this problem originates and you know, how we see it in the community. So as Jack mentioned, the Animal Mission is a 501c3. It's a nonprofit, and we're 100% volunteers. So in my role as the president of the board, I do this in my spare time and on the weekends, and my wife is grateful that I'm out of her way. But our mission is to reduce the overall population of pets in the community, and in turn reduce the amount of euthanized pets, limiting that to pets that are terminally ill, and those that are a danger or a potential danger to the community. And how we do that is through low cost or free spay and neuters. Ultimately, reducing the barrier for having those pets fixed so they can't reproduce unwantedly. Now, the Animal Mission was started in 1991 as a nonprofit, but more of a shelter friend. And at that time, the focus of the mission was to raise revenue and funds to provide supplies and things that the local shelters need, but maybe couldn't afford or didn't have the budget to get the quantities of which they actually required. Things like kitty litter and dog food and bowls and leashes and carriers, things that help the organization to run. And for 15 years, the Animal Mission did a fantastic job of providing that to the local shelters. However, in 2006, they recognized that there was a larger need. And while we were helping to support the shelters, we really weren't putting a dent in what was going on there. We were having a huge population of pets that were being brought in every year, and in turn, a huge amount of pets that were being euthanized. And so the focus at that point became providing those low-cost or free spay and neuters to reduce that barrier for responsible pet ownership, and ultimately reduce the amount of unwanted or unneeded euthanasias in the community. Now, in the last 5 years, the Animal Mission has provided over 29,000 spay and neuters, which cost close to $1.4 million. So we're doing a lot. We're really proud of those numbers, but there's still more work to be done. Now, I wanted to share with you guys an example of what our voucher looks like, and once again, this goes back to the eye test. Don't worry, I'll read what's on there for you guys, but there's one thing that I specifically want to unpack. It's a question that comes up very often, especially in community-based organizations and business-minded folks. We say that we provide free and low-cost spay and neuters, so that doesn't really jive, right? It's either free or it's low cost. What is it? Well, with our vouchers, you could take them to Palmetto Lifeline, you could take them to Pets Inc. or the Humane SPCA, and you will receive a free spay or neuter. However, we understand that the local veterinary professionals see spay and neuters and utilize spay and neuters as a revenue stream. And we have no intentions of removing that from their business or their hospital. So what we do is we provide a credit, and they can take, as a pet owner or someone who is adopting a pet, you can take those vouchers to your local veterinarian, and as long as they accept it, we will provide them cash in turn for that voucher. And it's really important, I want to make sure that everybody understands that, because we don't intend to ever compete with or replace the veterinary hospital, because A, it's so important for the health and welfare of the pets, but more importantly, the health and economics of our community. We don't ever want to interfere with that. Now, what exactly is a no-kill community? And we've heard that term, and sometimes we're not really fully understanding of what that means. And a no-kill community ultimately does not euthanize healthy, adoptable pets. We reserve that euthanasia for those that are terminally ill or pose a potential danger to society. Now, the industry benchmark for a no-kill community is 90% live release rate. That means that only 10% or less of those pets that are taken into the shelter are euthanized. And we're doing great, and I'm going to show you guys some statistics, but we're not there yet. And we have a plan and projections to get there by 2018, but once again, we need the community's help to get there. Now, once again, the chart's probably a little bit small, but as business-minded folks and myself in my vocation, I work in business, and whenever we see a scatter graph, we like to see those numbers go up and to the right? Up and to the right. Numbers have to go up. Well, as a nonprofit that's supporting the reduction of population, the reduction of euthanized pets, we want to see those go down and to the right. And if you look at the top two lines, the blue line represents our intake. And over the last 5 years, the intake at the local shelters has been reduced by 31%. That's a pretty significant number. If you look at the gray line, that is the number of pets that are euthanized. So there's a direct correlation there, right? But that's been reduced by 41%. Now, we talk about what is the benchmark for being a no-kill community. The Charleston area could arguably be held up as the gold standard in the Southeast, but certainly in South Carolina. And right now, their live release rate is 91%, and so that's what we're hoping to achieve and get to. But they started in 2007. We started this effort in 2011. Now, in their first 5 years, they reduced euthanized pets by 40%. In our first 5 years, we've reduced it by 41%. So we're at least on track, if not better. The other thing that I'd like to point out is, as you can see, the orange line, those are the pets that are leaving the facility, being adopted. And in the last 5 years, that number has grown significantly as well. And I know it's a bit challenging to see, but right there in 2016, we have an intersection of our euthanized pets and those adopted. So those pets that are being adopted is more than those that are being euthanized. And that's something else that we're celebrating right now. We're letting us know that we're moving in the right direction. So how do we do this? You know, it's not free, right? My time is free, but how do we provide $1.4 million worth of vouchers in 5 years? And our revenue comes from 6 different areas. We have 3 major sources of revenue and 3 minors, and I'm going to talk through those real briefly here. So the first one is the water bill donation. So if you're on Columbia City Water, every spring when you get your bill, there is a postcard in there asking you to donate. And that postcard asks you whether you would be agreeable to donate $1, $3, or $5 out of each of your water bills, and that goes directly to the animal mission. That goes right into that $1.4 million. Our second largest would be our individual and business donations. So a large portion of those come from folks leaving money in their will. Other things like Midlands Gives, we would consider that individual donations. And then business donations, so where we have corporations or local businesses that want to support our efforts. We also have an annual event, the Palmetto Peanut Boil, and I'm going to get to that on the next slide because I want to unpack that just a bit more. And then we have our smaller sources of revenue. We've got the My Pet Promise, which allows you to donate a penny, a nickel, a dime, a quarter, $1 for each pet that is rescued or adopted from the shelter. And once again, every time that goes towards our spay and neuter vouchers. We also have our Paw Path bricks. Now these are engraved bricks. They can take 28 letters that are put in the path of Rosewood Park around a fountain. And they're used to memorialize pets or friends of animals. And it's a great way to not only beautify a park, but also to memorialize folks that and pets that mean a lot to us. And those cost $50 a piece. And then finally, we have the Fill the Red Truck. And this event or support is very much a throwback to what the Animal Mission was originally founded to do. And these are a group of retirees that one weekend in the spring will spend their entirety of the day out in their yard soliciting donations. And the way that it came about, that is the Fill the Red Truck, is they have a red pickup truck that they park in the front yard. And the intent is to fill the cab or the back of that truck up with supplies, dog food, kitty litter, leashes, carriers, things of that nature. And these folks are donating not only their time, but their resources as well. Now, the Palmetto Peanut Boil has a fairly unique origin. In 2008, Brett Davis, he was the owner of Davis's Pub on Rosewood Drive, wanted to give back to the community and raise some money for the Ronald McDonald House. But he was looking for an event, and he loved boiled peanuts, and there was no boiled peanut event, right? It's the caviar of the South, but we don't have any competitions around it. And he decided that, much like the chili cook-off that takes place in 5 Points, he wanted to do something along those same lines, but with something that's very specifically Southern. So he started it and ran it for 2 years. And then unfortunately in 2010, he passed in a car accident. Now, Brent was a very close friend of mine in high school, and myself and a couple of other of our close friends decided that what better way than to memorialize somebody than to take on their altruistic values. And we decided that we were going to take on this event and do it every year for him. So for the first 5 years, from 2010 to 2011, we threw this event. It's very successful. Every year, or over those 5 years, we raised over $25,000 for the Ronald McDonald House. And then in 2016, we partnered with the Animal Mission. The Animal Mission was interested in having an event, and we were interested in doing more for the community than just the Ronald McDonald House. Now, last year was our most successful event to date, even through significant challenges. And some of you guys might not remember or weren't aware, but our event was scheduled for the same weekend of the floods. And so we had to cancel our event the week of, before we knew how terrible everything was going to be, and we rescheduled for 2 weeks later. So we lost almost half of our contestants. We lost one of our bands. We lost a ton of our volunteers. And at that point, folks are feeling generous, but maybe not generous to the charities that we were supporting. But even still, we had the best, most significant event that we did in 6 years. So this year it's going to be on September 24th. We are going to be blocking off the 2800 block of Divine Street. So think from Eggs Up down to Zaz, that area. We take contestants. It's a pet-friendly, family-friendly event. So we have bouncy houses, face painting, things of that nature. And we have folks from all over the state that are boiling some peanuts. And we have some unique flavors. Has anybody ever heard of pickled peanuts? It sounds like something my wife might have ate when she was pregnant, but it's actually really good. They win the People's Choice every year. They're the ones that have the target on their back. Now, my brothers, they enter every year. They think they have the best peanuts. They've only placed once in 6 years, and it was 3rd place. And they always think that it's an inside job. They're like, Nick, you're on the board. You can't kind of help put your thumb on the scale or something. But we draw a bunch of folks, and it's something that we're doing for the community. We're really proud of our trophy. It's a boiling pot that's upside down with a gold peanut on top, and folks are really trying hard to win that every year. We give out samples for $1, so you can get a handful of boiled peanuts, and then if you like them, you can buy a bag for $4. And then we have beverages, and like I said, there's music, and it's a family-friendly event. So that was really what I wanted to share with you guys about the Animal Mission and what we do, and I'll open it up for questions. Yes, sir.
What would be the reasons that anybody would pay full value for spay and neuter at their vet versus getting a certificate, a voucher from you guys?
Well, that's a good question. I think we have to speak to the individual pet owner, maybe if they had the resources and didn't necessarily need to take advantage of the voucher. I think that's where we don't have any specific economic requirements around who can and cannot get them, but as a pet owner that is just going to their veterinarian, maybe purchasing their pet from an independent breeder or adopting him from the veterinary hospital, we're not advertising those vouchers there. It's more specific towards the organizations that are helping to reduce pet population. Yes, sir.
Do any of the monies received from the city pet license go to support this cause?
No, not to the animal mission, no, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Tell me a little bit about government funding. Do you have some from the city and the county?
No, ma'am. So all of the revenue that we bring in comes from those 6 sources that I shared with you. So we don't have any, because we're a nonprofit, we donate our money to the benefit of those vouchers. So there isn't any specific government, city, local funding at all.
I just had wondered about hospitality tax, if for any of your events, if maybe that was applicable.
Oh, yes. So we do get some assistance from the hospitality tax for the Palmetto Peanut Bowl.
But I was so interested in that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nick, thanks for speaking today.
Thanks for having me.
Are you guys active on the other side of the river, or do you just mostly put your efforts into?
Yeah, so we support all the shelters, and Palmetto Lifeline accepts our vouchers as well. If that's it, yes, sir.
Is there access to the selection of animals on the website that you have available to people? Do they have to come to your facility to pick out a pet, or is there a way for us to kind of view what might be currently available?
Yeah, so just to be clear, the animal mission does not hold or store any of the pets. It would be the shelters. But yes, on the shelter pages, they do show, and Palmetto Lifeline does as well, they highlight some of the featured pets of the day and the week and so on and so forth. So you can go on the website and make some selections. Although it's limited, there's not all of the pets that are included. If there's no other questions, I'd like to thank you guys for your time. And I'll leave you with this. Remember to stay and neuter your pets.
Well, I have a feeling there are a lot of pet lovers in this room. I know my wife is a rescuer, and we always seem to have dogs coming in and out of the house. Some of them are great, some of them are not so great. So I know any of you who've rescued may have had that same experience. But it is a big issue, and the spay and neuter thing is really important. And I thank you, Nick, for bringing that to our attention. And I have a small gift of appreciation. Sherry, would you like to tell us about our speaker for next week?
Yes, next week we've got Bill Ellen from the Midlands Authority, the Convention and Visitors Bureau. He'll be here to kind of give us an update of what they've got going on over the next year.
Great, thank you. I do want to remind the Centennial Committee folks one more time, we'll meet at this nice table right here in the front. So if those of you who are here can join us, that would be great. I thank you, and we'll leave with song today.